Resilience has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? It captures that positive, albeit abstract sense of thriving in the face of adversity and unknowns. No wonder then, in this rapidly changing world, it's the latest, greatest buzzword. From environmental science to medicine to urban studies, academic publications referencing resilience have increased tenfold in the last decade alone. So then, what does resilience really mean? Well, there are a lot of answers to that question, and we're not here to tell you the answer. But we will share ideas on how to foster dialogue to support community resilience when everyone thinks about resilience differently. We focus primarily on resilience in the context of a community's ability to withstand stresses and shocks and prosper under a wide range of scenarios, especially those affected by climate change. Having a conversation about resilience can be a lot like hosting friends for dinner. You know the feeling, trying to come up with a recipe that everyone will love while being mindful of everyone's dietary restrictions. With those in mind, you decide on a casserole, just like Mom used to make. But in looking for the recipe, you discover a seemingly infinite number of casserole recipes to choose from. Hamburger potato, tuna noodle, shepherd's pie. You only ever thought of casserole as your mom's recipe of tater tot hot dish. Let's call this the Casserole Syndrome. You only ever knew one meaning of the word, when in reality it refers to a multitude of excellent options. Resilience has a serious case of Casserole Syndrome. To illustrate this point, let's take the dinner scenario one step further. You've cooked your casserole and your friends arrive. You unveil your tried and true family casserole, the tater tot hot dish, only to discover that no one has even heard of such a recipe. How is that even possible? Tater tot hot dish is a staple where you come from. Your friends didn't even know that hot dish meant casserole. Next thing you know, though, everyone is sharing their own family casserole recipes. JoJo's favorite is sweet potato marshmallow casserole. Johnny loves veggie casserole. Jenny appreciates as many potato chips in her casserole as possible. Always. By the end of the meal, everyone is pleasantly full and pleasantly surprised with new ideas for recipes. Jenny even suggested everyone come over next week so she can share her grandmother's potato chip-packed chicken casserole. So in this dinner with friends scenario, you solved your casserole syndrome by 1, discovering your own meaning of casserole, 2, considering the similarities and differences between your and others' meanings of casserole without denying that their recipes were indeed casseroles, 3, enjoying the underlying shared traditions and values of everyone's dishes, and ultimately 4, gaining a broader perspective and a richer set of ideas for future. Communicating effectively about resilience should be much the same, though presumably with fewer tater tots and potato chips. People from diverse backgrounds will be at the table: community leaders, policymakers, engineers, planners, and researchers, to name a few. So first things first, it'll be helpful going into the discussion to explore what you really mean by resilience. One way to get started could be to ask yourself the 5 W's. For whom, what, when, where, and why are you using resilience? We've also found that people generally adhere to one of 3 ways of thinking about resilience, either as a system property, as a process, or as an outcome. Let me explain. Think of a system property as a quality or characteristic of something within a larger whole. For example, the levees protecting a city. How well are they working? Someone may say, we need resilient levees that can hold up against extreme weather conditions and flooding. In this view, the concern is how stable infrastructure would be in the face of extreme conditions. Compare that with the resilience as a process. We want a strategy that coordinates every department's actions to make the city more resilient to future storms. Here the goal is to develop a set of procedures or actions that can reduce vulnerabilities across different sectors so that the city as a whole can be better prepared for future risks. In this instance, the goal is to coordinate what different city departments do so that they work better together. Or you may think of resilience as an outcome. We can create a resilient future by having all voices of the community at the table to identify and address various threats facing local environment, housing, and equity. In this case, the goal is to engage the community in thinking about what a more desirable future would look like and how to achieve that outcome. Importantly, there is not just one outcome people may have in mind. For some, it means keeping what they have. For others, it means improving on what they have. Understanding the differences and similarities in these resilience goals can help steer a group towards addressing the diverse expectations of a single resilience plan, without needing to agree on a single meaning of resilience. This allows you instead to focus on shared values among different stakeholders, such as dedication to safety, community, or equity. Finding common ground like this is critical to laying the foundation for long-term successful partnerships around resilience. Just like casserole, resilience has taken on many different meanings. The diversity of the way people think about resilience can be confusing at times, but it also affords the opportunity to have meaningful conversations and collaborations across diverse stakeholders who might not otherwise have that opportunity for partnership. Working towards shared visions and illuminating community values can broaden, enrich, and improve your work. Make plans to keep the conversation going and identify how you and your partners can help one another achieve shared goals. Ultimately, the dialogue around resilience gets us to look at the bigger picture and take a systems perspective when thinking about how to strengthen communities and combat the effects of climate change. Planning for resilience should be a collaborative process so that we're not alone in working towards more robust communities. Because just like a casserole dinner, planning for resilience is better with lots of stakeholders at the table. And besides, who wants to eat a whole casserole by themselves anyway? Thanks for watching. For more, go to agci.org/resilience.